Hello and welcome back to my channel When the Stars Aligned. My name is Kelly and this video is about sacral authority. What is it to embody your sacral authority in the world and how to lead a magical life with your sacral authority. So if you have been here for a minute, you know that I talk a lot about human design, archetypes, somatic work, embodiment, feminine energy, astrology, and essentially I love to weave these tools and systems into grounded, applicable reality so that we can understand the core, authentic essence of who we are and then move that and be that in the world. Create from that place, connect and love from that place, form connections and bridges and networks from that space, bring our gifts to the world from that space. And something that has been riveting me in real life experience recently is the phenomenal capacity that a well listened to sacral center has to create a magical life. Now, what do I mean by magical? I mean creating situations and experiences that are beyond the mundane, or there's still magic in the mundane, I suppose, beyond the logical mind, beyond what we can think and control and analyze and structure our reality to be. So for those of you who are new to human design, and if you clicked on this video because you want to know about the sacral response, let me give you a little bit of an overview. And if you already know about the sacral response, I recommend you stay because I personally find it's one of those things that we can continually refine and get more in tune with. They're doing some work next door. The sacral response is mechanical. It's deeply mechanical, and this is your authority if you are a sacral generator. So they call that pure generator in human design. I say sacral authority. Pure sounds a little funny. And this means that there's nothing impeding the authority of your sacral center. No spleen definition, no emotional definition, no root to throat giving you manifestation power. It's pure sacral response authority. And the sacral response is deeply mechanical. So it's a physical response you have in your body. Now, a lot of the time we have to learn through what we're not to find what we are. I find that's a big theme with being a human on this planet and really accessing our authenticity and our embodied authenticity. I know some of the most poignant moments in my life and pivot points of understanding who I really am were through understanding who I wasn't, whether that was through an experience or something I saw happening in the world or something I experienced in a one-to-one connection. It was like, wow, okay, I know that's not me, so what is the truth of my being in response to what I'm seeing that is discongruent with the authenticity of my being? And when we start cultivating more of an awareness of our body's response, our somatic response, somatic means of the body. So when we start becoming more attuned to the response of our body physically, when we get a gut instinct of, no, I really don't think that's right for me, or a gut instinct of, wow, I really need to go there, I don't know why. When we can practice listening to that, and when we can grow a rapport and a trust with our body's response, filtering through perhaps trauma responses or emotional responses, we get to really land in this place of clarity. I call it the soma compass. It's the compass that exists deep within our body, or the body oracle. The body as an oracle, the sacral center as an oracle, guiding you true. Yes, follow that. No, don't go there. So let's take a few steps back because I said it so quickly, like filtering through traumatic responses or emotional responses, but I find that this can actually be one of the huge deterrents of getting a clear sacral response. A lot of people that I work with one-on-one, if you don't know, I do readings. I do super thorough, in-depth readings that are recorded, and you can find those below. And I also do coaching and one-on-one work with human design to really help you understand the nooks and crannies of your chart and to live it in your life, in your business, in your relationships, in your health, in your relationship to yourself. And one of the biggest challenges is this a sacral response, or is this fear? Is this trauma? Is this pain? Is this something my brain is telling me, oh, you've already done that, don't go down that path? And simply put, the only way we can filter through that is through meeting the body, which might mean meeting the emotional response, but learning how to not build a story around it. So my first step with getting generators back into their embodiment and a pure, potent connection with their sacral center is through just listening to their body, creating more space every single day to build a communicative relationship with your body without actually acting on it. Or if you're going to act on it, notice the results you get after. Does it yield more frustration, or does it yield more satisfaction? But actually just listening to the responses of your body, and you could even give yourself a day or a few hours of one day that you have a little more space and time to practice, and you could say, okay, for the next 3 hours, I'm just going to let myself feel what my body tells me. And I'm not going to act on it. I'm just going to feel and notice and listen. And you just practice exposing yourself to different environments around your neighborhood or different types of music, different foods that you're looking at, and just notice, how does your body respond? Is there a sense of excitement? Is there a sense of closure? When you walk through a certain neighborhood, does your walk, pick up in pace? Or do you kind of slow down and start getting a headache? And these are things that can be so easy to overlook. But when we actually become more observant and we see our body as this ally that is wanting to communicate with us, we can start to learn its signals more. And when we learn its signals, we're able to then start that filtration process of, okay, is this coming from deep in my body, or is this coming from a story in my head of, well, I'm not going to go down that road because I know that thing happened there and then this and that, or, oh, I'm going to do this thing because that influencer said that that's the thing I should eat. It's like, we want to get out of here, and we even want to get out of the emotions of things as sacral generators. It's not so much about our emotional response, and I'll give you an example of that. It's more about the deep gut. So you can even think of it as if you're creating these focal points, right? Like, is it coming from my head? Is it coming from my emotions and my heart? Is there any drama or story attached to it? That means it's probably coming from your head or your heart. If it's coming from your gut, if it's coming from your sacral, what you can look for are sensations of genuine excitement without even really knowing why. I also think it's really helpful to think of it like a magnet. It's something you're just drawn to, and you don't know why. There's not a story. There's not an emotional pain or attachment or need. It's just like, wow, I'm pulled there. I've had several experiences like this even in just the last few days. Maybe I'll share a story. So I had a story, right? I was looking for apartments. I was looking for rooms. I was on a bit of a house hunt, and I had a very instant response from a Facebook post that I posted onto. And I was like, this looks a little too good to be true. And that was my head. But I was like, I'm just going to write. And I didn't write on any other post for this specific group and location. And then the woman gets back to me and she's like, hey, you can come on by today or tomorrow. And I was like, interesting. And I wasn't thinking about it. I didn't even feel too much into it emotionally. I just had this really easy response of sending her back a text. And we set up the time. And the next day, I actually emotionally was like, oh, I don't really want to go. I don't know who these people are. Do I really want to do this? I was getting in my head and in my emotions. I was like, oh, what if I go and it's weird? Or I don't know. I just had these emotions going on for some reason. But then my gut was like, no, just get in the car, check it out, go see it. Nothing to lose. And that was coming from my body. I'm like, yes, go. And I've also had moments where my body was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going there. But this was clearly more of a magnet. It was like, follow this cord through. Just see where it goes. Might be a total flop, but that's also fine. Just go try it out. So I went, and so I'm not going to share that story here, but a very phenomenal, totally unpredictable, magical experience unfolded. And that was purely my sacral guiding me. And if I had listened to my emotions that morning of I don't really want to go, I'd rather just stay home and do my practice and maybe go out to a cafe. And I was like, no, follow this through. It feels really easy. I gotta take a breath. I get so excited doing these videos. Also, this was a really juicy story, so I'm not going to share it now, but I listened to my gut and I followed through, and something even better than I could imagine happened. And I was just really receptive. I was open. I didn't have any stories. I wasn't attached to anything emotionally. I've had a lot of experiences like this actually when it comes to housing, which is funny. I wonder what that is. Maybe it's my South Node energy in the 4th house. But I had the same experience when I was living in Sedona. My gut just kind of pulled me to go up to Sedona for the day. There was one Facebook ad that I reached out to, and I ended up not even going to that place because I stopped at a cafe on the way and ended up meeting this human who was awesome. And they're like, hey, I got a room that literally just opened last week in my house, and I'm looking for someone to move in. It was just like, boom. And I was following my gut. I wasn't telling myself stories or following emotions. I was just leading from my body. I have a new friendship in my life that I'm so stoked about, just fucking soul sister friendship that I have really been calling in for a while and kind of also surrendered up to, because I have a lot of people I love in my life and closeness, and I have been in a place of really doing a lot of internal work and actually being okay with having some spaciousness in social settings and just being more free in that way. But I do really value deep soul friendships, and this friend just popped in. through following my gut and being part of things that excited me and being a part of this art project that excited me, and I just decided to go and be a part of it. And then I met this person and then decided to be a part of this other art project, and they happened to be there again, and it was just like the snowball effect, which can also be a very strong generator theme. It's like you might not necessarily see the results and the reward of following your sacral response right away, but it can accumulate, right? Like, you have to put your energy out there. And this is another thing, right? So talk about living a magical life, synchronicities, walking an enchanted path. And I know some people can look at my life this way because I've heard this reflection through like comments or people who maybe saw me on social media, then met me in person. They're like, you live such a magical life. And it's like, well, yeah, and there's action that goes behind that. It's not like I'm just like sitting, waiting around. Like, there's a component of that. There's a very strong component of softening your own fixated ideas and softening things that you have to try to force or push or prove yourself in, and be like, no, I'm not doing any of that, but I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to follow my excitement. And also knowing your motivation type is really helpful, which is something I cover in my recorded readings. Your motivation type can help you understand how can you take aligned action. Mine is desire, and I hands down see that the best things come in my life when I follow not what I think I should be doing, or I pretend I don't have an agenda and I'm just going with the flow, but when I'm like, I want this, and I go, and very often if it's aligned with my sacral, like, I get it, but I'm taking action, right? So the snowball effect. I was searching on a Facebook group, right? I had an inspiration and a desire in my heart. I said, okay, let me see what's out on the world wide web of Facebook housing, which we all know can be a bit of a fiasco and quite chaotic. And first person I saw, only message I sent, snowball effect, a little bit of messaging back and forth, pushing the snowball a little bit further. Plateau Moment, I don't want to go check it out. Pushing the snowball a little further, getting in the car and going, and then like this really cool thing happened that I couldn't have predicted. So you have to follow it through, and honoring your sacral response, living a magical life, does involve action. But here's the thing, it's like you getting clear in your sacral response. So is your action coming from a place of obligation, what you think you should do, what other people are putting on you, or the kind of projections other people put on you? And this is something that, my God, I can't tell you how much time I got caught up in that very unnecessary swirl of like focusing way too much on other people's opinions of myself and my life and who I was and who I wasn't. It's like, hey, I just gotta do me. I'm gonna do me. I'm on a very unique path, and that's okay. And I'm gonna follow my gut, and I've cultivated this very strong compass, and I know what I need to know and where I'm going. And also I'm softened to be shown the things that I don't know. And I know that I don't know it all. But I can get a really strong glimpse of what is and isn't correct for me, because I've cultivated that inner compass and refined my somatic oracle to really feel, oh, is that a yes? Oh, that's a no. And something that happens as you continue to practice your sacral response, and you can do in small ways, right? Like in very small ways. When does your body shut down around doing something? Physically, mechanically. This could even be like forcing yourself to have a conversation if you're just really tired and you need some solo time, but you feel like you need to be communicative, right? Whereas honoring your sacral response would be, wow, I'm actually really depleted right now. I need to just take a minute for myself. I'll see you in like an hour, or having good boundaries around your energy. Little things that you can do to implement protecting, and not even protecting, but like honoring your energy, honoring how you really feel and what you really need in a moment, knowing that you don't always have to be available, which I think can be triggering for non-sacral types sometimes, or even other sacral types. Like, there have been times where my energy was really not available to be shared, and I can be like quite open and warm and connective, and like I'm always talking to people that I meet, and having conversations and making new connections and friends, and like I love being in connection and communication. I love meeting people. And there are times where it's like 2-line 6'2" hermit role model on the roof is like, this is just for me, and I don't actually have anything to give right now, and that's okay. And that was a huge, I actually feel like this last year, the year of 28, I got a lot of initiations in that, of knowing that it's okay for me to not be ever available. And if people are perturbed by like me not feeling available and needing to just be close to myself, they're probably not my people. If they can't, be with my silence or my stillness or my sadness or my inwardness, then, you know, so just learning lessons. It's okay as a generator to pull back your energy. And sometimes that actually gives you the momentum to get yourself ready for the thing that you really want to be a part of, the thing that you really want to invest your energy in. But when you're forcing yourself to be more available, to be sharing of your energy, when actually you need to just be like focusing on your own stuff or working on something or saying no, that can be one of the strongest refining tools to really cultivate that sacral response. So yeah, this is just a bit of a share I wanted to come on and speak to with sacral response, and inspired by some real life experiences I've had. And you know, I love these kind of impromptu videos. If you've been here for a while, I just kind of like to put the camera on and go for it. And I do have some exciting things lined up for production and courses, but I love my impromptu videos, and I'm always going to keep it raw and real on here. So I would love to hear if you resonated with this, if there were any specific points that you're going to take away and integrate for really turning on and turning up your sacral response and listening for more clarity. And yeah, you really can live a magical life as a generator when you listen to that sacral response, when you let yourself say no, and when you let yourself say yes. And don't get caught in your head with stories or in your heart with emotions, right? Like, follow your gut feeling. Follow your gut feeling. And I know we can get so far removed from that because of society and conditioning and obligation and people pleasing, but it's a muscle, right? And like, once you just start working it, it does get stronger. I used to not know how to like listen to my body, and through applying practices and somatic work and training, like now my body is such a powerful compass for me. And I still get stuck in my head. I still get stuck in my thoughts, of course, but my body doesn't lie. My body does not lie. So it's like choosing to put my ear nice, low down and close to my soma, to my physical response, and to really listen to the truth that's coming from there. Even if it's not what my ego likes, or if it's not what other people might like, it's like, okay, that's the truth. And I don't know if you have experienced this. I would love to hear if you do, or if you want to come back to this video in time. I've now noticed that I actually experience pain in my body when I am going against what my sacral is telling me. If my sacral is like, you need to like pull back a little bit here, or you're actually like not available for this environment, or you need to be silent, or you need to go in that direction, or you need to do this, like I will physically feel pain if I'm like suppressing it or denying it or trying to contort myself to like fit into what I think is expected of me. It becomes painful, which I am grateful for. It's a good little wake up pinch. So okay, I'm gonna end this video here. I'm rambling, but let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next video.